Greetings, vanakkam, namaskaram. Thank you all for joining us today as we release the Community Resilience Handbook for Disaster Preparedness. More than ever before, it is important that we recognize the pressing challenges posed by human-made and natural disasters around the world. The frequency of disasters have increased in recent decades, and they have become more significant, both in terms of magnitude and numbers. Given the huge scale of these disasters, it is more important than ever to look for ways to address these crises and respond in effective, efficient, and comprehensive ways. As the whole world fights COVID-19, building preparedness and resilience has become particularly significant. Let me tell you a little bit about the United States. As you know, our country is vulnerable to natural disasters. In fact, every one of our 50 states is exposed to one or more of a host of hazards, to include earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, volcanoes, and wildfires. And I'm sure many Indians watched as wildfires raged in our West just recently, and as hurricanes ravaged the southeast of our country. According to the U.S. Federal Emergency Management Agency, which we call FEMA, the U.S. government responds to at least one natural disaster or emergency each week. In 2019, they responded to over 90 natural disasters. In our country, as in India, the burden for relief falls primarily on state and local governments. However, when needs exceed a state's capacity, the governor may ask for federal assistance. And FEMA, as I mentioned, is the primary agency responsible for coordinating Washington's disaster relief efforts and recovery within the United States. When major disasters strike abroad, the U.S. lends a helping hand, as requested by host country government. This happens primarily through the U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID. Here in the Indo-Pacific, we find ourselves in the most disaster-prone region of the world. The death toll far exceeds that of other regions in the world when it comes to natural disasters. Now let me come to the America with Kerala project. As my colleague Mullik mentioned earlier, we are releasing the Community Resilience Handbook, which is a key outcome of this project. This project started in response to Kerala's destructive floods of 2018. At that time, the whole world applauded the resilience and the determination with which the government and people of Kerala managed the floods, which I know were the worst in over 100 years. Unfortunately, disaster struck Kerala again with heavy rains and landslides in August 2019. But in the wake of each crisis, the people of Kerala stood together, hand in hand, above considerations of their differences, to overcome nature's fury. The international community, including thousands of Americans, stepped up and contributed to disaster relief and reconstruction efforts. The Kerala diaspora population in the United States also contributed. Others include Indian alums of our US government exchange programs, American businesses in Kerala, and American citizens in Kerala were actively involved in recovery and rehabilitation efforts. They leveraged their expertise and leadership in the spirit of volunteerism and giving back to their communities. The America with Kerala project was planned to build. This project was designed to share best practices from the US experience with relevant agencies and stakeholders in Kerala, while providing an opportunity for US experts to learn from Kerala's experience managing the flooding. This project involved a series of awareness building events, such as meetings, workshops, media engagements, and interactive programs focused on disaster preparedness, management, and resiliency, and covered 3 major cities of Kerala. The first round of workshops took place in Trivandrum, and it is there that we ideated the development of a university-level disaster management curriculum. We have with us today Dr. Himanshu Grover from the University of Washington. He was present in that curriculum development workshop and guided our focus group discussions. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Grover. With inputs from that first workshop, Dr. Grover is currently developing a 40-hour elective course that can be incorporated into existing academic programs for universities, autonomous colleges, and other relevant government and non-government agencies. The curriculum that he develops will employ an all-hazards approach, and it will be broadly applicable beyond even the specific focus of Kerala. This curriculum will be another concrete outcome of the America with Kerala project. We will present this curriculum to Ministries of Higher Education, state higher education councils, university administrators, disaster management authorities, and others. The second round of America with Kerala workshop took place in Kochi, and that focused on disaster resilient urban development and policy planning. And the third workshop took place in Kozhikode, or Calicut, and that focused on community empowerment. That workshop solicited ideas toward the development of a community resource guide that would come out in both English and Malayalam. And I want to thank Dr. Dhanuraj and his team at the Center for Public Policy Research, who have done an excellent job in assembling recommendations and key points from those discussions and compiling them in the form of a handbook. This resource guide includes recommendations and inputs from grassroots community leaders who led on-the-ground disaster during the 2018 and 2019 floods in Kerala. It also includes input from US and Indian experts on disaster management and other relevant sources, including the Kerala State Disaster Management Authority and the National Disaster Management Authority. It is my proud privilege to present to all of you this Community Resilience Handbook for Disaster Preparedness and Management. I hope this handbook will come in handy for all of you as you prepare for whatever disasters might lie ahead. And I hope that the outcomes of the Americas with Kerala project will continue to contribute to the advancement of US-India ties and collaborations in the area of disaster management, as well as to support the Rebuild Kerala initiative. Thank you very much.